Good morning and happy Wednesday. So from Canvas on your dashboard, I want you to click on the calendar, go to the calendar, and then pull up today's lesson. So today is Wednesday the 11th. So you can pull up today's lesson and go ahead and pull up the assignment too. So I've got the lesson pulled up and the assignment. So you'll definitely want to watch this whole video because I'm going to work several problems from your assignment on it. So today is November 11th. Your test is on November 17th. Let's talk about proving angle relationships today. So we've talked about a lot of these angles before, but now we're going to talk about proving angle relationships. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is angle addition postulate. So we've had segment addition postulate where you just add segments together. Angle addition postulate is very similar. If I take angle PQR and add it to angle RQS, that gives me the entire angle PQS. So angle addition postulate is just adding two angles together to get the entire angle. By the way, if you forgot what adjacent is, these two angles are adjacent. This angle and this angle because they share that side, so that makes them adjacent. So if you add them together, you get the entire angle. We have some other theorems. So I don't know if you remember, but postulates are statements that are just accepted as fact. Theorems are statements that have been proven true. So here's a few theorems. So the first theorem says if two angles form a linear pair, then they are supplementary. They add to 180 degrees. So that has just been proven true that this angle plus this angle is 180 degrees because it forms a straight angle. The complement theorem says if two angles form a right angle, then they add to 90. So if I take angle 3 plus angle 4, I get 90 degrees. That does not mean each angle is 45 degrees. One could be 30, one could be 60. But these two angles would be complementary because they add to 90 degrees. This is called the congruent supplements theorem, and it just says if two angles are supplementary to the same angle, then those angles equal each other. Well, think about it. If these two angles, angles 1 and 3, are supplementary to angle 2, they would have to equal each other. So what if angle 2 was 100 degrees? Well, if 1 and 2 were supplementary, angle 1 would have to be 80, because 100 plus 80 is 180. But if 2 and 3 were also supplementary, angle 3 would have to be 80, because 2 plus 3 is 180, which makes angle 1 and angle 3 equal to each other. They would both have to be 80. All right, the congruent complements theorem. So if two angles are complementary to the same angle, then they also have to equal each other. So if, let's say, angle 4 is 60 and it's complementary to angle 5, well, complementary means they add to 90. So angle 5 would have to be 30 because 60 plus 30 is 90. But if I also know that 5 and 6 are complementary to each other and this angle is 30, that would have to make angle 6 60 because 30 plus 60 is 90, which ultimately makes angle 4 and angle 6 equal to each other. All right, vertical angles. We've talked about vertical angles before. Vertical angles are always equal to each other. So if I look at angles 1 and 3, these are vertical angles and they are congruent to each other. If I look at angles 2 and 4, those are vertical angles. They equal each other and they are congruent to each, well, they're equal, so they're congruent. Also, don't forget that angles 1 and 2 form a linear pair, so they would have to add to 180. So if I knew that angle 1 was 50, angle 3 would also have to be 50 because they're vertical. But angle 1 and 2 have to add to 180 because they form a straight line. So angle 2 would have to be 130, which makes angle 4 130, which these also form a linear pair right there too. So vertical angles always congruent. And then two more theorems. These are it. If two angles are congruent and supplementary, then each angle would have to be a right angle, which hopefully makes sense. If they equal each other and they add to 180, they would each have to be 90. If two angles form a linear pair and they are congruent to each other, they also have to be 90 degrees. So if two angles make a linear pair and they are congruent, well, 90 plus 90 would be 180. All right, this is one of the examples of the types of problems that you're going to have. What I would do on problems like this is look for your vertical angles first. So see this 41 degrees right here? So if I go directly across from that, angle 3 would also be 41. And then see that 72 degrees right there? If I go directly across from that, angle 1 would be 72. And then let's just look at this straight line right here. What do all three of those angles have to add up to? They have to add up to 180. So if you do 180 minus 72 minus 41, you're going to get angle 4, and angle 4 and angle 2 have to equal each other because they are vertical angles. So we're going to look at a lot of problems on your assignment today, so make sure you keep this video going so I can help you on your assignment. So I just thought this was cute. It's a puppy, or a dog, and she's got her little puppies, so she's got some subwoofers, like a car has subwoofer, whatever, yeah. And then here's a porcupine in the bathtub. He got bubbles. He was like, well, that's a waste of money because he popped all the bubbles. Anyway, let's go to your assignment. So on your assignment, you're going to have some complementary angles. So remember, if it forms a right angle, they add to 90. So 2x plus 4x makes 6x, and that would have to equal 90. And then you're going to solve for x. Just put the answer in here. Do not put x equals. If they make a straight line, they always add to 180. So you're going to add these together and put it equal to 180. So 1x and 3x makes 4x. 10 and 18 makes 28 equals 180. And then you have to solve for x. You have a couple problems where you have to try to name the vertical angles or name the adjacent angles. Do you remember what complementary angles add up to? Do you remember what supplementary angles add up to? So you'll put those there. Here's another supplementary. So on this one, after you find x, you actually have to plug it in to find angles 1 and 2. So since they form a straight line, you want to add them together. 1x and 3x makes 4x. 10 and 18 make 28 equals 180. Solve for x and then plug it in to find angles 1 and 2. I think that's the same problem. We just have to find the angles. Okay, so this one, it says we are looking at angles 4 and 5 right here. First of all, do you see this box? That means 90 degrees. So what would angle 3 have to be? I hope you said 90. And then angles 4 and 5 would have to add to 90. So 2x and 4x is 6x. Negative 5 and negative 13 is negative 18 equals 180. Or, whoops, not 180. What's it equal? 90, because that's a right angle. Solve for x and then plug it in to find angles 4 and 5. So you'll plug x in here. 2 times whatever x is minus 5. 4 times whatever x is minus 13. All right. These are vertical angles. I hope you remember that vertical angles equal each other. So 7x minus 24 equals 5x plus 14. Put them equal to each other if they're vertical angles. These add to 90. This isn't algebra though, it just gives you a number. So angle 5 is 22. If these two add to 90, just do 90 minus 22, and you'll figure out angle 6. So at least that one doesn't have algebra. Number 10 doesn't have algebra either, but these form a straight line, so what do they add up to? Hope you said 180. Vertical angles equal each other. So if angle 1 is 38, what does angle 2 have to be? 38. This one I want you to think about, but it says angles 9 and 10 are complementary, so they have to add to 90. Keep that in mind. It gives you angle 8 is 41, and it tells you angles 7 and 9 equal each other. Okay, here's the ones I want you to look for your vertical angles first. So if that's 123, then angle 2 would have to be 123. And then what do these two angles add up to? They add up to 180, so just do 180 minus 123. You'll figure out angles 1 and 3. So look for your vertical angles first. Look for your vertical angles first. 15 should be really easy, I hope. On question 16, look for your vertical angles first. So which other angle would be 92? That would be angle 3. Which other angle would be 39? That would be angle 2. And then all 3 of these angles form a straight line, so they have to add up to 180. So just do 180 minus 39 minus 92, and you'll get angles 1 and 4, and they will equal each other because they're vertical. All right, let's see. More of the same. There are a couple review type questions. So if two angles are supplementary and they equal each other, what does each angle have to be? And then and supplementary is 180, they add to 180, so what does each angle have to be? Don't put 180 in there, each angle, but they have to equal each other and add to 180. If two angles are complementary, they have to add to 90, right? Complementary, and they equal each other, what does each angle have to be? You've got some more review on those properties. Make sure you ask yourself, how do I get from the if part to the then part? What would I do to that 6x minus 7 equals 29 to get 6x equals 36? Well, I would add 7 to both sides, so that would be addition property. So ask yourself, how do I get from one step to the next step? You're going to match each statement with the correct property. This is the one though, okay, so on this one, this first one, RS equals TU, TU equals YP, then RS equals YP. We take out what's repeated. Do you remember what that one's called? Transitive property. Go to the third one though, because this one is one where it could be either one. So if angle 1 equals 30 and 1 equals 2, then 2 equals 30. So I could think of it as taking out what's repeated. So that could be transitive property. Or I could think of it, well, if angles 1 and 2 equal each other, could I replace angle 1 with angle 2? So what's it called when you replace something with something else? I want you to put substitution on that third one. The fourth one, same concept. You can think of it two different ways. If G equals 35 and S equals 35, then G equals S, so you can think of it as taking out what's repeated, which would be transitive property. Or you could think about it as substitution, because you could substitute angle SN for 35, so substitution. I want you to put transitive property on that one. So put substitution and transitive on those. All right. If two angles are complementary, they add to 90, add to 90. So if you know angle A, just do 90 minus 52. Oh, wait. Yeah, but we have to find angle C. I wasn't reading the whole thing. So if A and B are complementary and B and C are supplementary, supplementary has to add to 180. So after you do 90 minus 52, you'll get angle B, and then B and C have to add to 180. I was trying to hurry through that. So make sure you find angle C, not angle B. Okay, you got a little proof. Remember that first step on this one is not given. So we are adding segments together. What's it called when you add segments? It's called segment addition. Okay. Oh, you have to remember, so I did a couple review because you've got a test coming up, a couple review over inductive and deductive reasoning. Inductive is the pattern. Do you notice something happening? Deductive is the fact or the rule. It will happen. And the last two. So I'm going to help you set up the last two. This is more review, but I want to make sure you know how to do it for the test. So number 31 says, if the measure of one angle is 7 times the measure of its complement. So complementary angles is 90. If we're talking complementary angles, I want you to draw a right angle and then put a ray inside it. So you have two angles. Call one of the angles X. It doesn't matter which one. The other angle is 7 times that, so 7x. So together, it's 8x equals 90. You will solve for x. That'll be one of the angles. Then do 90 minus that angle to get the other. You will get a decimal on that one. That's okay. Get a decimal. And then the last one I'll help you set up. So we're talking supplementary, so that's 180. So draw a linear pair if it's 180. Call one of the angles X, doesn't matter which one. The other angle is 38 less than X, so X minus 38. So together it would be 2x minus 38 equals 180 because it's supplementary. Solve for x, that'll be angle 1. Then just do 180 minus that to get angle 2. I hope I was able to help you. I miss you guys. If you have any questions at all, please message me. Have a great day.